You gentlemen seen your midterm grades yet?
Oh, they're not posted yet, sir.
2 C's, 2 D's, and an F. That's a 1.2 grade average. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
This is WICR.
Part of their legacy by securing their third. On this day in New York sports history, October 26, 2000, the New York Yankees cement a part of their legacy by securing their third World Series in a row. Being down 2-1, the Yanks gained momentum thanks to future captain Derek Jeter.
That's well handled and field by Tye. Up by Yanni, back. It's a 2-2 game. Derek Jeter's gone deep again.
The Yankees would advance to beat the Mets 4-2 in Game 5 at Shea Stadium to the delight of Yankee fans everywhere.
For the third time in a row, fourth time in 5 years, and 26th time in franchise history, they are the world champions.
With this New York sports moment, I'm Anthony Payero. Break. There we are.
There we are. What's going
I was
on,
like,
everybody?
I
Here we
still
are.
can't hear it anymore.
I'm good. Here we are.
Sorry about that. So it's Wednesday. It's 2 o'clock. You know what we're here to do. After our last segment, we said we'd come back and talk about yesterday's opening day baseball game for the New York Yankees as they lost 5-3 to the Houston Astros. We've got some words here from Joe Girardi, thanks to our friends at MLB.com. He had a little press conference yesterday where he talked about the game and what he thought they could improve on. So let's listen to what Joe Girardi has to say and talk about it as soon as he's done talking. So we're here, and let's take a listen.
It impedes with the first baseman catching it. My argument is you have no lane to throw it. So I guess Dellen's only option is to throw it and hit him. And I don't think that's what baseball wants. So to me, it's something that probably needs to be looked at. I mean, that's a big play. You know, it ends up hurting us, and then he gives up the couple more runs from that on. But that's a big play because that's the second out.
Like you signaled you were going to play under protest?
I did. I told him I wanted protest.
What's the hope there?
Well, you know, if they don't change it, that you bring more clarity to the rule. Because I don't want to go in and tell my pitchers, just throw it and hit them in the back. You know, I don't want to do that because you get somebody hurt is what you can do. So, you know, Mark, obviously, he doesn't have a lane to throw it. So, you know, it's different to me if he's crossing over the base path, and that because he's crossing over the base path, he doesn't have a lane. But where he was, you know, Correa's way in the baseline. To me, it's something that really needs to be addressed.
Joe, how would you evaluate Tanaka's performance, and when you decided to take him out, what was the thought there?
I thought he threw pretty well. I just thought he was kind of getting at the end of his rope. You know, Gomez in the past has had some good at-bats off him. I know he did a good job with him today. But I just thought he was kind of getting near the end. He had to work, you know, somewhat hard, not too hard, but somewhat hard. And I made the change.
Joe, what did you think of the conditions?
I didn't think they were terrible. I mean, they weren't ideal. But I've been in colder games before. I thought both teams handled it pretty well.
So there we have it, some words from Girardi about yesterday's game. He wasn't too happy. For those of you who didn't watch the game, in the 8th inning there was some turmoil on the mound. As Dellin is on the mound and Correa is at the plate, Correa hits a grounder to the first baseline, and it ends up in Dellin's hands. And Dellin turns around to make a throw and throws the ball over the first baseman's head. Because of an obstruction with the runner coming into first. He was in this path. What is he called? The 45 line?
He was in the baseline. He was in the baseline.
Yeah.
He was way out of the baseline is what he was. And I think Joe Girardi's argument is 100% correct.
Yeah.
That the rule needs to be changed because just like he said, you can't have your pitcher just, you know, hit the runner in the back. there needs to be some sort of change to the rule, because when you have no throwing path for the fielder, just like base runners that have the right to the base path and fielders have a right to the base line, it's the same way in this situation. So something needs to be changed. It's not feasible this way.
Yeah, it's a tough decision for Girardi, but I like the way he handled the whole situation. Yeah, he got himself tossed, but I felt like he went up to the umpires in a very respectable manner. He can be known to be a hothead sometimes, but he was just trying to make his point clear, because it's not a reviewable play. It's something that the umpires had to make a decision on themselves, and they all came together and spoke, and still didn't overturn the call. And at that point, they might have thought, oh, well, it's a little too late for me to change my mind on this decision, because then he'd get the other manager mad at him too. It was just easier to keep the call the way he did it, but Joe Girardi's right. It shouldn't have been handled that way. And he stayed in the game, didn't leave, played the rest of the game under protest, and we'll hear again from the MLB later this week about the protest. And I'm interested to see what the front offices look at this game and what they'll say.
I just want to add that in Correa's post game, he said, quote, "Maybe I was inside the line, but then he's got to hit me in the back in order for me to be called out. I was just trying to maybe confuse him. He's a pitcher. They don't play much defense." Now, that may be true, and then home plate ump and crew chief Dana DeMuth said that ball was so high that in my judgment it was just an error or a bad throw. Now, DeMuth also said that he agrees that he should have called out Correa, and they did meet after the game, and the rules upheld, and the game is under protest. Is anything going to happen with the game being under protest? Probably not. It'll probably remain the way it ended, but it is something to look at moving forward, especially if we see other cases of it.
Yeah. Like Girardi said, quote, "That doesn't make any sense to me, because now you're asking one of our players to assault theirs." Like they're really trying to make a hostile environment out of nothing. You don't want to get hit by a baseball from a pitcher. God knows how hard he's going to throw it at you. It's not trained to throw like an infielder is.
Right.
It's dangerous. Nobody should be put in that position. Dellin Betances did the right thing of not trying to throw the ball to the first baseman. Again, you never know what could happen. There's freak accidents in baseball all the time, and you don't want to see someone go down because of a stupid rule. They need to fix it. I can't wait to see what the Major League Baseball offices are going to do with the protest. It's wild. Girardi is right in his argument. And the rule, I have the rule here. MLB Rule 7.09 says, "It is interference by a batter or a runner when he fails to avoid a fielder who is attempting to field a batted ball or intentionally interferes with a thrown ball." It goes on to state, "The umpires shall determine which fielder is entitled to the benefit of this rule." And then Girardi felt that Correa went out of the base path intentionally to disrupt Betances' throwing lane, but it is ultimately up to DeMuth's judgment.
And the hard part about this is, like we just said, in Correa's post-game, he pretty much admitted he did it on purpose. I mean,
I don't think it's right for the umpire to say that he should have thrown the ball at his back.
There's
not
okay.
There's
no place for it. There's no place for it.
There's no need for that. You don't have to peg players.
Should have absolutely been called out. That's a bad call by the umpires. That's a missed call, and that's definitely not the way you want to start off the season.
This is Major League Baseball. This isn't a college game or a high school game. Like you're not going to throw the ball at another player.
Yeah, this is just something that I think needs to be looked at, because you don't want to open up the season and start having scenarios like this with umpires, and that just puts you in a bad position for the entire season.
What is he going to do? Throw a 96-mile-per-hour ball at his back?
Exactly.
That's not okay.
Exactly.
You never know what could happen in that situation, and the umpire is wrong. And he should have changed his mind on that call. But that was a rough way to close that game out on that note for them. After being trailing down, that probably just took a lot of momentum out of the Yankees game.
Yeah.
But I think that they had a pretty good opening day despite the loss.
Yeah.
Tanaka didn't get blown up.
No, yeah.
It was a pretty good outing from a team that's predicted to do really well.
Yeah, I mean, you're facing the reigning, AL Cy Young winner, Dallas Keuchel. He's not going to miss up. If he misses, it's going to be down. So you're not going to have a whole lot of chances, to capitalize on his mistakes. Overall, it was like 37 degrees out. It's not baseball weather. a lot of factors. Gardner didn't play. Hicks played because of lefty. I think it's just one of those rusty opening days, and that goes back in Yankee history. Yankees always lose opening day. So
Yeah. But no, Tanaka was pitching like an ace. Starlin Castro made an impact for the team with a 2-run double. Everything was looking great. And they were able to score on Dallas Keuchel. I think they broke a streak of like 20-odd innings.
He didn't give up anything in spring training, so it's it's definitely a good sign. It's definitely a good sign.
And that's bad for him. I don't think he's gonna have a great season like he did last year. I'd be shocked if he won the AL Cy Young again.
Right? Yeah, I don't.
But he's a fantastic pitcher, and he got the best of the Yankees in that 1-game playoff for the wild card. And he had a good outing yesterday too. But we were able to score some runs, and I'm interested to see future battles between the Yankees and Keuchel again.
Yeah,
because they've got him figured out now. I hope.
As am I.
It's interesting to see him play. I think he's going to have a stellar year, as will the Houston Astros, and they'll find themselves in a good standing as the season moves forward. And then Betances comes in the 8th, and after the game was all tied up thanks to a home run from Correa. Just a little messy there. They've got good hopes tonight. Who do they have on the mound? Pineda?
Pineda and Colin McHugh.
Yeah, so hopefully we've got some good outings from these guys tonight with the Yankees coming out on top. So that's all we have. It was an interesting game. Hopefully they won't get into a protest for this one.
Yeah.
Is the same umpiring crew going to be there today?
I believe so, yes.
Should be the same guys. Maybe Dellin will get another shot on the mound today. It's early on in the year, and if the game's close enough, why not? Chasen Shreve came in yesterday before Betances, and he had a pretty good inning too.
Yeah, Shreve was back to his old self from last season. So with Justin Wilson gone, Chasen Shreve is really the sole setup lefty guy. So for him to be throwing well early is definitely a good sign and a show of good things to come.
Yeah. They're really proud of each other. Alex Rodriguez said yesterday, Tanaka is certainly one of those guys that they're going to build on moving forward. He thought he threw the ball well, and Alex also went on to say that Chasen threw the ball outstanding, and our 2 middle infielders had great games. If we get that type of starting pitching, we are going to win a lot of games. And he's right.
Yeah.
Tanaka's a great ace for this New York Yankees team. They've got Pineda at the second slot. I think that's a good move on them, too, because he's been on the rise for the last couple of years. He's gotten himself in and out of some trouble. But I think Pineda's going to be the guy for the Yankees this year, kind of like A.J. Burnett was for the Yankees in 2009. He's right there with him, and I hope he does have a good year. Pineda does. But I love the support that the Yankee fans and players are giving Didi Gregorius after his first year taking over the beloved shortstop position in the Bronx. He did fantastic last year. Had some screw-ups and people were a little nervous, but he did great. And him and Starlin are going to be great in the middle infield this year.
Yeah, I think him and Starlin is one of the premier middle infield duos. Me and Walsh were actually talking about this earlier. Him, you got Francisco Lindor and Jason Kipnis and Panic Crawford, guys like that. And if Didi's offense pans out the way they hope it can, and Starlin goes back to playing the way he did 2 years ago, I don't see any reason why they can't be considered in that conversation.
Wow. I like him a lot. So they're playing again tonight, 7 p.m. game. It's going to be a cold one out there. Maybe not as cold as yesterday.
Yeah.
At the time of the first pitch on Tuesday, the temperature in the Bronx was 36 degrees. That marked the coldest regular season game at Yankee Stadium since April 8th, 2003. It was 35 degrees that day when the Yankees played the Minnesota Twins.
Snowing. Opening day snow.
Tanaka says he wore an extra undershirt yesterday to deal with the conditions of the game. Hopefully it won't be as cold in Yankee Stadium tonight. But can't predict that stuff.
Yeah, can't.
So we'll see what happens at game time. Game time's at 7 o'clock tonight. Yankees are hosting the Houston Astros for the second game of this series. And we'll see you guys next week. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at Pyero Powerplay. And what's the Twitter for your show, Matt?
What is my Twitter for my show? I don't know. Well, I'm going to get back to it, and we'll figure that out.
All right. So find us on Twitter at WICR1. Check us out. We've got a radiothon coming up this Saturday. We'll be back then for a
Listen in all night up until 4 a.m.
Special episode of Piero's Power Play coming up at 2 a.m. This upcoming April. That's April 10th.
April 10th.
At 2 a.m. So we'll see you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your week. This is Pyro's Power Play. My name's Anthony. That is Matt. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in.